Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for folks introducing yourselves in the chat. Always great to see where folks are coming from, what orgs, what part of the world. My name is Suzi Grishpul. I'm the product manager for Action Builder, and today we're going to share about some exciting changes that we've made to the uploader or import function in Action Builder. This is a new change as of a few weeks ago that we've been working on for months, and we're really excited to share it with you all. So just a little overview of how this webinar is going to work. First, I want to just kind of shout out some big highlights that we're really excited about in this new uploader. Then I'll just share a few FYIs just to keep in mind. Then I'm going to do a walkthrough so you can actually kind of see how it works. And then we have some testimonials from a few folks who have been using the uploader, or some of our partners that were actually involved in the feedback process that influenced why we made some of the changes that we made. And then we'll have some time at the end for Q&A. We have Jen D'Agostino as my right-hand person, answering your questions as we go. Some of them we'll save for the Q&A if they, require a little bit more expanding on. But yeah, feel free to drop any questions you have in the chat or the Q&A. I think those are two different buttons. And yeah, let's dive right in. All right. So yeah, some of the main highlights of this new uploader are, first off, the old uploader, for those that were used to it, was 3 different ones for entities, info fields, and connections. And now you can do all of those within one file, which is really exciting. Deleting records is obviously still a separate process, or separate file upload for doing that. But yeah, hopefully that'll save folks time being able to upload all that at once. As you'll see when we do the walkthrough, we also have a bunch of additional helpful tips and warnings and feedback as you're going through, since we know uploads can be a lot. We want to make it as easy and as intuitive for you all as possible. And that also includes some cool things like auto detecting column names and trying to do some smart matching around that stuff, as I'll point out. Another thing we're really excited about is you can now download any errors that get flagged so that it's easy to fix them and then re-upload. We have also added the ability to overwrite core profile data with blanks in case something got messed up or you want to clear a bunch of things out en masse. You can now do that easily through the uploader. And last on our list of highlights, now when you select a campaign that you're uploading records to, it will only show you the option to map to fields that are in that selected campaign. So kind of scopes it down a little bit. Just a few FYIs to keep in mind. The processing time for the new uploader takes a little bit longer, just because of the back end and the way that it was rebuilt. But it's still going to save you time overall from having to do those 3 separate uploads. So net positive there. Another thing to keep in mind is that since we're doing core fields, info fields, everything all in one now, you will need both the Action Builder ID, or the ID that you're matching on, and first name when you're doing those new uploads, in order to kind of fill in for existing records. And one other thing that I'll point out just in the UI that might be a little bit confusing, but hopefully we've made it pretty clear. The columns have been swapped. So the column from Action Builder versus your CSV, you'll see that there. All right, cool. Let's dive into the walkthrough. I'll pull up another window for that. Cool. All right, so uploads for folks who don't know are a feature that is just available to admins of your Action Builder instance. So if you are an admin, we'll go to the admin section here. We'll hit new uploads. I'll come back to some new stuff going on this list page in a little bit. Alrighty. So yeah, when you first land on this page, as you'll see, we now just have 2 tabs instead of the 3 that were there before, just the upload and the delete entities. We also still have an example upload template. This used to be a Google Doc and now it's a Google spreadsheet. Now it's just a CSV, so you can just download it. Actually, I'll just show you how to do that using this example one. And it's a CSV, so you can play around with that. All right. So you select your file and it'll immediately let you know how many rows are in that CSV, just to double check, match your expectations. Then you're going to select which campaign you're uploading to. This hasn't changed. And for now, we can only upload 1 entity type at a time. So today we're going to upload people. Then you're going to tell it if you are matching to existing entities, or if not, then you're going to treat all the uploaded entities as new. So on the left here is which ID you want to use from Action Builder. Say I picked that one, and then it'll ask you, which column of your CSV you want to match it to. So in my example one, it's all very nicely formatted, ideal circumstances, so that's the same name. Under advanced preferences, we've got some cool new options here. So advanced preferences, you can tell it to override existing data. If you check this, then if something already exists for core fields, so name, preferred language, date of birth, all that good stuff, it'll override it. Otherwise, if you don't check it, it will just skip things that have already been filled out, again, for matching existing records. And then we have the second checkbox now that is don't ignore blank values, which means that you can now overwrite things that are in Action Builder with blanks if you want to intentionally, there was some kind of error, you had accidentally uploaded first names as middle names and you need to clear out all the middle names and re-upload that data, things like that. So you can now have those options. I'm going to turn those off for now. As I said previously, you can now upload connection data all in one. So if you want to upload connection data as part of the rows of your spreadsheet, You want to select the connection type, people to people, people to work sites. You want to set a connection status on all of them. And then again, you're going to set which ID you're connecting to which column in your CSV. So there we go. All right, cool. So now that we've got all the settings kind of set up, hold on, let me check the chat. Thank you, Jen. Then we get into the real magic. So like I said, we're trying to anticipate some of the work here by trying to auto match column names. So, again, this is my example CSV. So of course, all the column names are perfectly matched, but if you have column names like first name, last name, etc., / you can format your CSVs, of course, to match the example template. Then it'll automatically know, okay, I need to match these. And of course, if the auto matching doesn't work out quite right, you can always change it. And then we also have this nice data preview over here that will show you an example of what that data looks like in your CSV. One thing to keep in mind is, for some people you might have a middle name, some people you might not. So this all isn't necessarily going to be coming from the same row of your CSV. It's just pulling out the first non-blank value. Of course, if you don't want to import any of this, you can always remove it. This is all just pulled in based on the auto matching. And if there's something that wasn't matched here, you want to add. So I just removed middle name. Say I want to add middle name back in. You would do that using this little plus sign right here. So we've also got all of our address information, auto mapping, for things like status. And as you'll see in some other places, you can either pull this information from your CSV and have dynamic values based on that, or you can just decide you want to put everything with one static value. So let's say I want to pull everything in from the CSV and mark it as bad, or mark it as do not contact, etc. You can do that. And yeah, so now you can upload all of this address information, all of these different attributes, including like geocoding, the geocoding status, all of that. As of right now, you can only upload one address, one email address, one phone number at a time. That's something we're discussing as a potential future feature, but for now, you'll have to do that as multiple uploads. Now, as you can see, we've got our email info, our phone number, social profiles. Folks are using the social profiles feature that we just recently rolled out earlier this year. You can map all of those different profile handles, names to each one of these different social media platforms, website, etc. And let's see, can't remember if we had any extra fields. So also, like I mentioned earlier, if you have additional info fields that you want to upload to, you can also now do that all at once. Let's see if, oh, we don't have pronoun in our, okay. I have age in here. Oh, maybe I'll come back and do this with another field. Okay. come back to fields. And connection fields, same thing, since we've enabled connections for this upload. If you have connection fields, you can also upload those. I am uploading a connection, but I don't think we have any fields set up on it in my example here. So, yeah, and another thing that's nice is that at the bottom here, if there are any additional columns in your CSV that the uploader sees that you haven't yet mapped, we'll give you this little FYI. Of course, it's not required, but you might catch something that you wanted to make sure you included. And if you have any errors, they'll show up here, and then you'll have this nice little link that will swoop you back up. So this is telling me that I selected this connection field, but didn't actually map it. So I'm gonna take that out of there. All right, so now I've confirmed that. I'll come back to fields with another example, show you response mapping, and then you review, making sure you got all the numbers right, and just confirming that you might be creating new entities, you might be creating new connections, and you've double checked everything because these things are hard to undo. All right. Then once you submit that, you get taken back to this page where it'll say status processing with these little arrows. And then when it's done, you'll either get complete or complete with errors. And I will go into those in a little bit. But first, let me show you some field responses. Okay. So we're going to match on custom ID. Jen, I think your example has connections, right? Or I think it's people to work sites.
There should be a people-to-people connections that I sent you earlier.
Okay. Okay, yeah, this one has work sites in it. Try it with that one. All right, so yeah, just like the other one, we've got all these pre-matched here. And the fields also try to be smart about pre-matching. So let's take this one, for example, pronouns. The field, well, actually, I'm just going to remove it so I can show you how to add it. Oops, add another field. Okay, that's down here. Wait, why isn't pronoun showing up? I'll remove a few of these.
Is it turned on in this campaign?
I thought so. Otherwise, I wouldn't be trying to map to it, but. Right. Pronouns. All right. Live theater. Great. Okay, so in order to select a field, if it wasn't already magically trying to do my work for me here, I would select the field. So in this case, I selected pronouns, and if there's a note, we would add the note for that. But in this case, there's no note on this field, so we're just going to take that out. And let's see, connection fields. It's not working, so we're just going to skip that one. All right, and responses, same thing. We also try to be smart about noticing what is in your CSV versus what responses you already have in Action Builder. So the more you can do, front load that work and clean up your CSV to make sure all the values match, the smoother the uploads process is going to be. So in this case, in Jen's lovely demo spreadsheet, the upload values already mapped really nicely to values that we have in Action Builder. But if they didn't, so this is actually a really good example of this. So let's say in the spreadsheet, we have she, he, they listed, but we know our responses in Action Builder are she, her, he, him, and they, them. We can make sure that they're mapping to the right place so that our data stays clean. You also have two other options. One is if it doesn't already exist as something to map to, then just create it as a new response, or you can just ignore it, which hitting the little trash can also does. So let's make sure that gets mapped to those. And connection field mapping works the same. And this toggle can be really nice if you have a lot of responses on some of your fields, then it'll only show you things that haven't already been auto matched. And then same thing. It'll show you, number of records, number of columns, and number of responses. And you want to confirm all those things. And then it goes into the queue. Cool. So yeah, like I said, this takes a little bit longer. I've been testing this a lot over the past couple weeks and generally clock it about, give it 5 to 10 minutes. So like go off and make a hot cocoa or coffee for yourself, and then come back and check on it in a little bit. But while we're waiting for those, oh, there we go. Now let's start processing. While we're waiting for those to go through, I'll tell you a little bit about some changes that we made to this uploads list page. So first thing to note, we have now moved all of your past uploads here. So there's a little note at the bottom of this page, find your legacy uploads here. So if for some reason you need to reference an upload that you did in the past, that is where you can find it all. Some other nice things on this page, if you click on either the status or this more details in the little 3-dot menu here, it'll pull up this pop-up that gives you a lot of information about that upload. So in this case, this was an upload that I did that had some errors in it. And so now you can download those errors as a CSV. So you can, and it'll show the error message so you can fix them and then do another upload with just those. Fix those things. Oh, I should also mention that we also try to anticipate fixing certain things. So like East Coast postal codes that are maybe only 4 numbers or 3 numbers. We'll try like appending zeros before them. And what are some other things that we do auto fixing on? If you're uploading URLs that don't have the HTTPS, we'll fill that in at the beginning just to help you do some of that like data cleanup within the tool. Yeah, you can also now see who did the upload, which user. So you need to follow up with someone, you have that information there. And one other nice thing here too, we know this uploads list gets pretty long and cumbersome. So by default, it's sorted by date. So the most recent ones are going to be at the top, but you can now also sort it by the file name or by the campaign that it was uploaded to. Yeah, I think that's all the fun stuff I have. at this point. Great. I also just wanted to share real quick, if folks want some additional support with uploads, we've got some great resources for you that I will drop in the chat now, and we'll send out in a follow-up. Okay, here's a link to, I just saw Sarah's message. Here's a link to our upcoming trainings. We have a monthly training on data structures and how to do uploads. So that is always available to you. And then the second link that I'm dropping in as well is to the uploads documentation that we've just revamped for the new uploader. So step-by-step instructions and a lot of the stuff that I went through today. Alrighty. Cool. So now we want to hear a bit from some of our partners on, yeah, how the process was of revamping the uploader and the impact that that these changes are having on you all and your users. So let's see. Let me just pull up the list here. Sarah Waterfall, where are you? All right, I'm giving you the talking stick of Zoom. How has the uploader changed your life?
Changed my life. That's a bit dramatic, but it's actually it's pretty it's saved us a lot of time. Prior to this, if you were doing any number of uploads, right? You have new people, you have old people in your file. You would have to upload, do person, just the straight person upload, then get all the IDs that were just created for the new person, the new people, to then go back to your file, which you've already spent some time matching, to like I said, go back and append those IDs so that you could run an info upload. Thank God, this is no longer the case. We have a number of very large campaigns with very large lists that are coming in now, and being able to do it all in one straight shot makes a world of difference. There are still some times, hopefully we'll get this corrected in the future. There are still some times you have to do a couple of additional uploads, but it's a much smoother, much faster process, and means that it takes a lot less effort to get one file that you've been working with into Action Builder a lot faster, a lot smoother. So we really appreciate that.
Awesome. Thanks so much for sharing. Yeah. That is our goal, is to make your jobs easier. So glad that's having that effect. All right. Next up, we've got Shelly Wen. Shelly, come on down.
Hi, everyone. I've never been given the talking stick on a webinar before, so this is kind of weird. I'm the senior data organizing strategist at the AFL. I started in August, so I'm actually relatively new to Action Builder. And when I started in August, I was doing a lot of uploads for our state feds and VLCs. And I think this is probably very relatable. I made so many mistakes. It took me a while to figure out how to upload entities and then info. And I was kind of similar to what Sarah was saying. It takes so long. And the other thing was that as a newer user, I was feeling kind of hesitant with mapping the columns. So I think it's really great that the cooperative development process really addressed a lot of those needs, and that it wasn't just me that was going through them. So since we've moved to the new uploader, the one-step process is amazing. I love the previews of the rows because it makes uploading like so much faster, and you know, it really gives you confidence in making sure that things will be uploaded correctly.
Thanks, Charlie. Yeah, that's definitely something that stood out to me, is just that sort of like help along the way and just confirming that you're doing it right. Because yeah, it's a big piece of work. So awesome. Thank you. And last, we'll bring up Jeff Mann. Anything you want to add to what's been shared already?
Sure. Hey, Jeff Mann. I'm a senior technologist at the AFL-CIO. And yeah, I'm really excited about the uploader. I think for a few reasons. One of them, Sean just alluded to in the chat, which is like, yeah, I think and so I've been part of the Action Builder process of from the very beginning, and and training folks on Action Builder from the very beginning. And one of the hardest things has always been not even an Action Builder thing, but just the Excel skills of like exporting, matching, uploading was a huge barrier. And so I think having this new upload process is going to be it's just so much easier for folks, and hopefully alleviates a lot of that that work of exporting and matching. And just kind of like bigger picture, like I think this is it's a sign of like kind of where we are with Action Builder. From the very beginning, like in the design process for Action Builder and the kind of the prioritization of what to build, our approach was always like let's do whatever is going to make it best for the end users, and like that's still the philosophy. So if it's a question of like, is something that's like better for organizers or better for admins, like we're usually going to choose the thing that's better, that's going to make the tool better for organizers. But admins are important too, and I think this is a sign that we are far enough along in the development process of Action Builder that we're kind of circling back to some of these things that improve quality of life for the admins. And kind of as a preview for folks, I think this is only like, this is like phase one of of work on the uploader. Like there's a lot more to come. In particular, I think up next, like being able to match the same column more than once, so be able to do multiple addresses or multiple emails or multiple like info fields in the same upload. I think that'll be next. And then we'll have like really a true like one file, one upload process, and that'll be great. And down the road, I think there's even more exciting things. I think the ultimate goal is to have like the uploader be easy enough for anybody to use, and not have have to worry about like messing up your campaign, and definitely not messing up other people's campaigns if you do something wrong. But being able to kind of then make the upload process easier and make it available to more users, so that can share that the workload and have fewer bottlenecks with admins. I think is going to be a huge win for Action Builder.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeff. I was actually going to talk about some of the upcoming things. So
sorry.
No, it's okay. The more people talking on this call besides me, the better on it, in my opinion. So yeah, perfect. We're on the brain sync. I'm looking forward to that kind of stuff. Some of the things that folks asked about in the chat. Some like the duplication handling. We're continuing to make this better. So thanks for sharing your thoughts on that, Jeff. And on that note, if you're using the new uploader and you have feedback for us, or things that feel confusing or unclear that you'd like to give us suggestions on how to improve it, we're always happy to hear those. So please email us support@actionbuilder.org with those questions or that feedback. your suggestions make the tool better for everyone. So we want to hear them. All right. Let me just share my screen real quick. All right. And voila, while we were hearing from our amazing partners about their thoughts and impressions on the new uploader, our uploads have finished. So yes, like I said previously, you'll get a status. It'll either be complete or complete with errors. Every once in a while, it'll really hang on processing, and it might just be an issue with your file or some other, weirdness technology. It's just always going to find ways to mess up. So if that ever happens, again, reach out to our support staff and we'll help you troubleshoot it and figure out what's going on. One thing I just wanted to share real quick is what the downloads look like. Let's see. Or sorry, the errors. And I think I got to share a different doc for that. So if you do get the complete with errors status after your upload goes through, like I said, everything else will go through, but the thing that it had an error with, and then you'll get to download a file that has the error messages in it so you can fix those things quickly and then re-upload them. So in this case, the error message is the other entity to entity doesn't exist, which means that I was trying to map a connection to an entity that doesn't exist, at least not in this campaign. So you should go back and make sure that that entity exists and then you can re-upload it. Thank you all so much for joining us today and nerding out with us about uploads. If you have any other questions, you can always email us. Jen, if you want to put this in the chat as well, support@actionbuilder.org. We're always happy to help you figure out how to use the uploader to its best capacity. And yeah, have a good rest of your days.